news. This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
Good evening. You are watching A New Day live on Focus Liberia. My name is Marie Kwende Collins, and I am broadcasting live from the UK. It is 6 p.m. in the UK. Welcome. So today we will be discussing social change and the youth in Liberia. The focus is on Liberia today. Feel free to join in and contribute. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your opinions on this topic. The topic today is youth and social change in Liberia. Once again, you are watching A New Day live on Focus Liberia. So today I have a couple of points and subtopics that I would like for us to discuss. And I'm hopeful that you will enjoy the show today and you will also add your voice to this presentation. So when discussing social change and youth in Liberia, West Africa, we must first look at education reform and skills development. This is something that has been raised by a lot of people whom I had a brief discussion with when putting together this presentation. A lot of people highlighted that there is a need for university industry linkages. For example, there needs to be a strengthening in partnerships between universities and industries in Liberia in order to create internship, apprenticeship, job placement opportunities for graduates, students, and graduates. This could be done in a form of a cadet program, which is similar to what other nations such as Nigeria and the UK they have going on presently. So here in the UK, as a young person, I have found that there's a lot of opportunities for young people in the job market. They do not necessarily have to be graduates, but there is opportunities such as apprenticeships and internships. So now linking this to Liberia, the purpose of this program is to brainstorm, is to share ideas, and is to bring these things to the limelight, to the forefront, in hopes that people who are working in this sector will be able to listen, hear our voices, and they will try to implement some of these things in our dearly loved nation called Liberia. So when looking at apprenticeships, what is an apprenticeship? An apprenticeship is usually is a form of partnership between a company and a business, for example. So we have a lot of graduates in Liberia who are not working. This is something that the Ministry of Education can tap into, and even the Labor Ministry, for example. When speaking of job creation, how can we get these young people who are currently unemployed into apprenticeships? Apprenticeship is working for the company, but as an individual is working for the company, they are also receiving some payment, and at the end of the program, they will also receive a certification, a qualification to say that they have completed studies in this field, and also they will then have the work experience at the end of the apprenticeship to move on to a better employment or to be promoted in the field that they are in. I have found that in Liberia, for some reason, we don't have many options when it comes to job. It is either a person knows someone in the government, or most people obtain work through connections, through their social networks. There is nothing on paper, and there is no like plan or strategy to get people into employment. If I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me. You are welcome to write it in the chat, your opinions and your views on what we are discussing today. So I mentioned internships, apprenticeships, job placement. Internships, I have a foundation, and when I started off my foundation, because I work with single mothers, and there was a program we had actually a few years back, where I was able to source some opportunities for the women I worked with, and I managed to get some of them an apprenticeship, and some of the women worked in a bakery, others worked in a hair salon. And when that came to an end, there was no other opportunities for these women to progress in those fields. So how can we go about as a nation, as people, to create more of these opportunities? I would like to also urge business owners to be open-minded. So if you have a young person or a CEO or a entrepreneur like myself, a philanthropist, coming to you, asking you to have people work for you as interns, please be open-minded, because we speak about the education in Liberia not being strong, and we complain a lot about things in the nation, but we all have a part to play in establishing these things in our country. So if you are a business owner, we need you, pretty much. We need you to be open, to be welcoming, so that people can learn and they can also gain qualifications through your business. This will be a form of you helping the government to implement this. I believe if the government of Liberia see that these things are happening without their input, they will be more willing to help, because if the outcome is positive and they have seen how the outcome empowers young people in the nation, the youth specifically, they will be willing to create programs to help the youth to get into education and to progress, and to to be promoted and to be more empowered. So that's the first thing. Business owners, please be open-minded, and if you do have a business, be open-minded, welcome other work along with other people, because I have found, as well as Liberians, we struggle with this partnership. We struggle with working with others. There is a culture, it's not really a culture, but we tend to want to do things on our own because we want the glory, or we want the accolades, the award to come to us. But this type of behavior is not strengthening our nation. So being open-minded to internship programs, apprenticeships, and job placement, providing job placement to people in your place of work, in your business, it would do extremely well, and it will help to boost the job market in Liberia. Now, the next one I have listed is digital revolution in STEM education. This is really important because here in the West, AI is taking over. That's information technology, IT. These things are taking over. So it is important that the youth of Liberia, from even here we call them primary school. So I believe in Liberia it would be, from maybe let's say the fifth graders up. It is important that we introduce IT programs to get them used to using the computers, to make them IT literate, and then this will also help them when they grow up, the youth especially, to be able to stand a chance when they go out there after they have obtained their degrees. It will give them leverage over others who are also seeking the same position. It will help to boost their resume. But as it stands now, if our youth are not exposed to the digital revolution, the STEM education, and if they are not trained in tech, then it will hinder them. So this is something that we must consider. If you have just joined the program, you're watching A New Day. My name is Marie Kwende Collins. Please share this live, comment. I would love to hear from you. Now, massive job creation and entrepreneurship support. Youth agri-business and agro-processing programs. We need the government to provide funding for land, funding for technical training to make agriculture profitable to young people. This is something I believe we shouldn't just depend on foreign aid for, but we should actually do these things ourselves. Because if you're following the news now, you said what is going on with USAID and in the political sector at the moment. If we Liberians, we do not have these things established, if our ministries are not creating these programs in Liberia without foreign support, I know it is very difficult, but in every country, that's where we have to sacrifice. Here in the UK, the government have sacrificed in so many different ways. They have taken money from one pot, they have placed it into another pot. They have increased taxes for some workers just because they need funding to fund certain things. So now in 2025, I believe, it is my opinion, feel free to comment and to share yours. I believe now is the time to be done with the excuses. I understand Liberia, we may not have a huge pot of money, but we need to, especially right now, we need to promote entrepreneurship. We have hardworking people. A lot of the young people, they create jobs themselves. Some are taxi drivers, some are motorcyclists, some sell food. Our people have already demonstrated that they have the skills, they have the ability to create jobs, to be entrepreneurs. So all they need right now is the funding. And if we are trying to encourage young people to go into agribusiness and agro processing, we need to create the programs for the youth so that they can flourish in the sector, and so that we will have generations after them, helping in that sector. So if we are, as we're talking now today about youth and social change and education, how to develop the development of even our nation, Liberia, it is my belief that it starts with the youth. So we must empower them. Please, once again, share the live, comment, let me know what you think about these topics. This presentation is about youth and social change. I'm here with my points and also points I have gathered from speaking to young people, people from different ages. Like I've spoken to some youth in Liberia, I have spoken to middle-aged people, I have spoken to people from various economic statuses and status in society. So this is what I have gathered and I'm presenting it today. Feel free to add and add to what I'm presenting, contribute, let me know what you think and how the government of Liberia can how they can help, and feel free to share what they can do. And this presentation is not just about what the government can do, but it's also about us as citizens of the nation Liberia. Although we may be living abroad, how can we also impact the youth? These are things I want us to think about today as I present this topic. Once again, my name is Marie Kwende Collins. Thank you for watching. Please share the live. So, government-backed startup fund. This is something that was raised up by some of the people I spoke about concerning this topic, youth and social change. So, someone mentioned government backup startup program. They mentioned we need to establish a national startup grant and low interest loan scheme to support youth entrepreneurs. I don't live in Liberia, I live in the UK. However, from going back home often, I have seen how young entrepreneurs are thriving, and a lot of them are thriving because not so much because of their education, but they are thriving because of connection. But how can we change that? How can we enable those who do not have the connection to also thrive as young entrepreneurs? If the government can create these startup funds, I believe it will help the young people who already have businesses, established businesses, to expand on those businesses and to do more. And obviously, as their business flourish, it creates more job for other young people and for those who are currently unemployed in the nation. I understand that there is a loan or grant for market women. Some have access to it, but how can we have a I think it's about time that we have a government-backed startup fund. What do you think about this? Do you think it will help to boost the job market? What do you think will be the pros and cons of this government-backed up startup fund? Please, once again, share your opinion and contribute. I would love to hear from you. We also need national green jobs national green jobs in initiatives. We need to invest in renewable energy, waste recycling, and eco-friendly businesses. We need to create jobs in environmental sustainability. As you can tell from this presentation, a lot of the information I've gathered is around job. So it seems like in order to promote social change, the job market and employment is a sector that needs to be dealt with. If we are able to tap into all of these areas, it will help to keep a lot of the young people off the streets. I believe it will decrease the amount of people, young people, who are currently on substances, abusing substances. It will decrease the numbers. And also, if we're able to create jobs in these sectors, create jobs in renewable energy, waste circulation, waste recycling, and eco-friendly businesses, if we're able to do all of these things, a lot of young people will not be where they are today. As we can see, someone did highlight that there are young women in Liberia, because there isn't much job opportunities. Some have found themselves in the streets. So it's important that we address these issues, and the only way to address these issues is by taking these, all I have mentioned, taking note of them, and working towards it. We need to work towards it. Thank you for joining a new day here on Focus Liberia. My name is Marie Kwende Collins. Please share the live. Please comment. I would love to hear from you. And we will be live every Sunday. So make sure you follow the page, A New Day, follow Focus Liberia, so you do not miss any of the presentations that we will have this year. So now we're looking at governance, leadership, and civic engagements. We need the government of Liberia to push for policies that reserve 30% of leadership positions for the young people in Liberia. This is something I feel strongly about, because we are encouraging people in Liberia to vote. We are selling them a dream of hope, a dream of a new day, so to speak, or a new nation. But how can we create a new Liberia, or overcome the challenges that we have faced as Liberians, if we are recycling the same politicians, the same people are occupying the same roles? These are things we need to look into. Just because John has been working in finance for years, just for example, it does not mean that John have the creativity, have the skills. He may have the knowledge, but in life we have to evolve, right? So it is important that we make space for the youth, because the youth are coming in with new skills, new knowledge, and with a fresh mind, new way of thinking. And also they are more exposed to the current events and the changing world. So we need to look at how the government of Liberia can push for policies to reserve leadership positions for young people. Let's give the young people in Liberia a chance. So we have not long to go. We have 10 minutes left. Feel free to comment. Let me know what your opinions are. I will be glad to hear from you. We are discussing social change and the youth and social change in Liberia. Therefore, your voice is very important. So before we wrap up, which I believe we have about 5 minutes to go, we need to strengthen youth political participation in Liberia. We need to advocate for lower candidacy age limits and reduce election fees to enable young people to contest leadership positions. In my opinion, I believe we need to start with our communities, our local communities. So I'm not suggesting that young people should go into parliament. However, as you can see in the States, Donald Trump, his secretary, she's a young lady, I believe 27. We need to encourage our young people to go into politics, to participate in politics. And the only way we can do this is obviously through education, through youth empowerment. But if there is a young person in the community who has been working in the community, is actively bringing about changes, contributing to the community positively, then we need to encourage them. And if that young person then believes that they have what it takes to contest for a leadership position, then in my opinion, we should advocate for younger people to become representatives in the local community. It is my suggestion, but you can add and contribute. This is what we're here for. Every Sunday on the New Day platform, we're here to discuss various topics and we want to hear from you. Before I wrap up, my final point is anti-corruption and accountability movement. We need to mobilize youth in whistleblowing, civic activities. We need to look at civic activities and anti-corruption initiatives. And in doing so, I believe we'll be able to tackle the corruption in our nation. And lastly, social welfare, gender equality, and community development. We have a lot of ministries in Liberia. A lot of, we have ministers, we have, I don't know, I just feel like the ministries are there, but aside from the foreign aid that they receive, how can we make these ministries more active, more impactful in Liberia? When we look at the gender ministry and the health ministry, what are some of the things that we can do, and how can young people be included in the change and in making these ministries flourish or to be more successful or impactful in Liberia? So you're watching A New Day. My name is Kwende Collins. These are things that's worth thinking about as we discuss social change and the youth in Liberia and social change. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this live and join us again next week, Sunday, on this platform. I'm live in the UK, 6 p.m. In Liberia, I believe it's also about 6 p.m. in Liberia also. So please set your alarms and join us every Sunday. We are on live, I believe, Eastern time in the US at 11 a.m. So do follow the platform, and I hope to see you again. And thank you for watching. Let's do this. I believe we are able. Liberia, once everyone gets their hands in and contribute in whichever way they can, I believe that our nation will be great. So thank you very much again for watching. We are wrapping up now. My name is Kwende Collins, and this is A New Day platform here on Focus Liberia. Goodbye.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia.